put the most amazing healing power inside of your body. And today, if you're suffering, whether it's with headaches or high blood pressure, numbness, tingling in your hands, back pain, constipation, autoimmune disorder, whatever that is, we believe that there is hope for you based on a couple things. One is God's Word, because He said that, you know what? He's ultimately health and healing comes from Him.
Yep.
And then number two, science. So we know that there are specific things that happen when you start to affect the nervous system that can allow your body to heal and to be well. And we're going to go through that today. But first, we're actually going to walk through autoimmune disorders. So we're going to talk about that today. And, you know, just to be honest, this is one of those, you know, you could spend hours and hours and hours, Dr. Chris, talking about autoimmune disorders. And even just going through the list probably takes an hour. And, you know, what's interesting is so many things now are being labeled as autoimmune disorders like MS or thyroid disorders. And you have to understand that when you have an autoimmune disorder, that is your body attacking itself. And you got to think, like, that can't be natural. You know, that's not normal. But for a specific reason, that started to happen in your body. And so the number, if you've been listening for a while and you just need to get caught up on that, get called in and get checked, is 877-778-6978.
Yes, so, and also too, if there's any portions of the show that you want to hear again, you can follow this on YouTube. You just go to Max Living 100.7 and you can watch the whole show in its entirety if you want to do that as well. But as we talk about autoimmune conditions, like you said, there's so many. When I was looking it up this morning, there was 80 different autoimmune conditions out there. So that is a ton. One of the things is some of them are so common. You have so many gut issues that they're termed autoimmune. You have inflammatory bowel disease. You have lupus. You have Guillain-Barré syndrome. We have Crohn's disease. And one of them is RA. So what RA is rheumatoid arthritis. So that's degeneration. And Dr. Rick, how many people do you see that come into your clinic that have some type of degeneration of the spine?
A lot.
Yeah. So when you hear RA, though, what's the first thing that triggers in your head? What joint? Spine for us, but
yeah. For RA though, I think most people think of like their hands.
There you go. Yeah. So poorly worded question, but so most people, like the lay public, you know, when you think of RA, you think of your hands, your elbows, your knees, like the extremity type joints. But RA can also be found in the spine, and we see this in people's spines all the time. And here's the big thing: it doesn't always cause pain.
Yeah.
Right, because people think if I've got degeneration, if I've got arthritis, if I've got bone spurs, isn't that going to cause me pain? Mm-hmm. Aren't I going to like have a bunch of numbness and all types of joint dysfunction and all this? And you know what happens is you just don't notice it. Right, so you'll have decreased ranges of motion, but that's happened such a slow process over time that you don't realize that when you turn your head to the left, to the right, when you look up or down, you know, your joint range of motion is very restricted because those joints aren't lubricated, they don't glide on each other like they used to. But to you, since it's been such a slow process, it seems like a normal reaction. That just seems like a normal range of motion. You're like, well, I've never been able to turn my head to the left when I back out of a driveway. You know, well, that's still not normal. And one of the reasons that happens is because of an autoimmune condition called RA. And that means that the joints have been out of position for a long enough period of time. And we're talking specifically about your spine today. And when your spinal joints are out of alignment, it's going to affect the nervous system. When we look at the nervous system controls life, health, and healing in the body. So everything that happens in the body has to flow through the nervous system. That means the brain has a signal, goes through the spinal cord, goes out the nerves, feeds life into every cell, tissue, and organ in your body. So having RA in your spinal column compared to your hands, pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Right? My hands don't carry life to the rest of the body. My spinal cord does. So, guys, there's a lot of you out there that have no idea if you have degeneration or arthritis in your spine. There's a lot of people we're going to be talking to tonight that have, very, very common autoimmune conditions, like all the gut stuff that's happened, the, chronic diarrhea, chronic constipation, chronic pain. We'll be going through some testimonies of that later, too. So, guys, make sure you call in. The number is 877-778-6978. We'll go through what that process looks like. It's 877-778-6978. This is Max Living Radio.
I think, too, Dr. Chris, you were talking about if somebody has degeneration in your spine, how it affects you. But again, most people are thinking short term. So if you take degeneration in the spine, and over years the spine's trying to fuse together, then you start to have all these organ diseases, then it becomes very apparent, like, oh wow, I need to do something about it. But a lot of people with RA, the reason that they start to take action or do something in the beginning is because they start to lose use of their hands. We have a young girl, she's 24 years old, came into our office, and she went running one day, and her feet started hurting and her knees swelled up, and then a couple of days later she noticed that her knuckles were swollen, and then she said, over a short amount of time, like her fingers, she felt like they were starting to get disfigured. And so this is accelerating very rapidly. And she said, she's in graduate school, and she's like, I'm to the point where it's trouble writing and typing, and I can't go run now and do the things that I love, and I'm about to get married in 3 months. And she's like, I don't know that I'm going to be able to go on my honeymoon. Am I going to be able to have kids? And you have to realize, like, these things affect your life, and it may be in the immediate right now, or it may be later on. But what if you started to correct these things or fix the problem now so that you didn't get to that point? Don't wait until all is lost.
Yeah.
Don't wait till you feel like there's no hope left. Don't wait until it gets so bad that it takes longer and takes more money and more energy to try to get back from that. Like, start as early as possible. And I say that because so many people listen to the radio show for years before they come in. And I'm like, well, how long has your problem been going on?
Yeah.
Oh, well, before I started listening to the radio show. But then finally you decide to come in.
Yeah.
And how great would it be to feel better now? If I ask you right now, Dr. Chris, if you were hurting, you had a headache, or your joints were hurting, would you rather feel better right now or next year?
Now.
Right. It's ridiculous to think about that. And we know that sometimes you feel like maybe money or time or questions about what we may be doing may interfere with you taking that step. But I promise you, 100% of people that come into our office, that get care, that do what we ask them to do, they see amazing results. And that could be you too. This girl I'm talking about, Lizzie, she just got married. It's been right out a month ago, and she went on her honeymoon, and she talked about, went on a cruise, and she was talking about, I got to do all the things that I wanted to do. She's been able to start jogging again. She's like, I feel so much better, probably 80% better. But when she went to her medical doctor and the rheumatologist, she sits down and she's got this whole list of questions. And basically he's like, you don't need to worry about any of those. This is all you need. And he gives her this, long list of prescription medication. And she said, well, what if I don't want to take that? He's like, well, that's not an option. This is the rest of your life. You have to take these forever.
Wow.
And she just starts bawling.
Yeah.
And she's crying in the doctor's office. And you would think that there'd be some compassion there, and he basically was like, well, here it is, leave it or take it, and left.
How many people, though, out there that are listening, have been in that situation where they've had a doctor tell them that they need to take these certain medications for their autoimmune condition, which, by the way, is an immunosuppressant, which can't be healthy.
Yeah.
Or it's been a thyroid issue that they say, you need a medication to speed it up, to slow it down, or you have a blood pressure issue, you need something to lower your blood pressure. And they just suck the life out of you because they say you got to take this medication, and without this medication, your body's not going to heal. Well, the God that I believe in says my body is going to heal. It's a self-healing mechanism. God needs no help interfering, just no interference. Your body is designed to heal. You don't need help healing. You just need no interference. But the problem is our daily life, what does it do? We put problems in our system that don't allow us to heal. It starts with subluxations in the spine. It starts with we don't detox correctly. We eat genetically modified food. We have antibiotics in our meats. We drink water that's not clean. We shower with water that's not clean. We don't forgive. We're stressed. We don't sleep. You put all those things together, now all of a sudden this is a recipe for sickness and disease.
Right.
And so if that's my recipe, and all I believe in is the traditional allopathic model that says I go to the doctor says you have XYZ, you have these symptoms. These symptoms are a diagnosis of this, so now here is your prescription. And guess what, guys? In this country, we have more doctors, more drugs, more surgeries, more medical establishments than any other country in the world, and yet when you rank the healthcare of this country versus healthcares of other countries, are we the healthiest? Not even close, right? We're dead last. There's so many other countries out there that are healthier than us because they don't rely on drugs and surgery to fix them, okay? In the acute situation, great. That's great for you. But the problem is we're taking these medications for chronic issues. We're taking them for 6 months, for 6 years, for 16 years, and never asking ourselves, what's causing the problem in the first place? Can I fix the problem without the use of drugs or surgery? But until you're ready to take action, you're not going to.
Right.
Like, you just can't. You have to take massive change. It's the first of the year right now. This is the time where people are getting back to the gym. This is the time where people are making New Year's resolutions. And hopefully for some people, it's to get their health back. There's no better investment that you can make this year than your health. And your health starts with the nervous system. It starts with the brain and this innate healing that God gave you to heal from the inside out. And so that's what we do in the office. Is the very first thing we look at before we address diet, before we address exercise or supplementation or detox. We have to figure out, is the body healing from inside out? And there's a specific way that we do that. And so, Dr. Rick, you want to walk them through kind of what the new patient exam looks like and everything. So if you come in, the number is 877-778-6978. Dr. Rick's going to walk you through kind of what the process looks like when you come in, what we're looking for, how we test, what we do, and just that it's an experience like you wouldn't have at any other doctor's office.
Yeah, it's actually really cool because people come in all the time and like, well, I've been to a chiropractic office and it's never like this.
Yeah, it's different.
And you know what? We want a different response. Some people see benefits and results from typical chiropractic care, but you know what, there's more than that.
Yeah.
And I told everybody that walked in my office yesterday, I was like, my purpose here isn't just to make sure you feel better today, it's to make sure that you're healthy for a long time. And a lot of times we look at how we feel, and that determines how healthy we are or we think we are. And really, your pain or your symptom that you're going through is a warning signal, but it's not an indicator of how healthy you are, because disease can take years to develop. And that's ultimately why we do the exam the way that we do. We start looking at posture and range of motion, and we do orthopedic tests and neurological testing and nerve scans and these different things to check and see, how is your spine positioned? How is it moving? How is your brain communicating with your body? And then taking x-rays, because most people don't know what their x-rays look like. Every time we take x-rays and then we go over them, I said, so is this what you expected your spine to look like? Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we really don't know what it's supposed to look like. We walk through education process of, this is what your spine is supposed to look like. This is where yours is, good or bad. But the x-rays are so valuable because it gives us that black and white of exactly how your spine is positioned. If you're sitting there right now and you are looking in a mirror, your spine has to be straight up and down from front to back. If it's not, that's subluxation. It's damaging the nerves. If you turn and look to the side, you're supposed to have an arc in your neck, your mid-back, and your low back. Each of those need to be 45 degrees. Mm-hmm. Very rarely have I ever had anybody come in and know where their spine is. Like every now and then you may have somebody like, oh yeah, somebody told me I had a reverse curve or my neck is straight. I'm like, then you should be freaking out. Like that's not just a flippant thing. Like, that means that's crushing your spinal cord, damaging the arteries that feed blood flow to the brain, closing down the hole that carries the nerve and the information out to your organs and glands, your heart, your stomach, your thyroid, every part of your immune system. And I think that's so important because most people think of an autoimmune disorder, they get told, okay, there's no correction, there's no cure, we're just going to try to, minimize some of the symptoms, and they don't look at what's causing that. Your immune system is attacking your body. Well, what controls your immune system? Your nervous system. Mm-hmm. In fact, there's so much research that shows every single organ and cell that is connected or a part of your immune system is directly connected to the nervous system and controlled by your brain and spinal cord. So that right there tells you, if there is a problem in your nervous system, that will affect your immune system, therefore causing inflammatory response, autoimmune response. So that's why we always start there. Because Dr. Chris, you know this. If people eat healthy and exercise, but their spine is still deteriorating or degenerating, like, you still have a problem. Like, eating healthy and exercising are part of the whole picture, but we have to start with the spine because it is the most important thing that we could ever analyze and ever do. And most people come in and we ask them, hey, have you ever had your nervous system checked? And probably 98-99% of them say, no one's ever actually checked this part of my body.
Well, and even eating right and exercising, you take a spine that's out of position and you're exercising on it, it's already unstable. And now when you do load-bearing things, you're damaging it even more than it already was, because it's not a stable structure. So the spine is supposed to be straight from front to back. That's pretty self-explanatory. When it twists or deviates off midline, that's called a scoliosis. But if the spine is off midline and I do a squat exercise with a bar on my back, now I'm load bearing on that unstable structure, on that unstable spine. It's going to bend more. And then it's going to compress the discs more. And then it's going to compress the nerve roots more. And so if we're talking about the lower part of the spine where the back is, if my low back and I'm compressing those nerves and those discs at the bottom, and those nerves, they go out and they feed life into my colon, my digestive system, then I wonder, why am I constipated? Or goes out to the prostate or to the reproductive organs, and you wonder why you don't get enough blood flow down there, why the prostate has an issue. It's because of damage to the nerve tissue that's at the bottom part of the spine. We really have to understand this point that nerves are not all about pain. Like only 6% of the nerve fiber transmits pain. The other 94% of all nerve fibers that come out of your spine, they're to transmit life into the body. All the stuff that you don't think about. We don't think about our heart beating, our lungs breathing, the digestive enzymes in our stomach right now. I don't think about all those neural pathways. It would be overwhelming to my brain, but my brain is functioning through all of those things because there's no interference in my spinal cord that's trying to get life out into the body. So when the spine is unstable, it's out of position, now it's going to create the disease. It's going to create the symptoms. And here's the thing, we can't always identify like what symptom that's going to be.
Right.
I don't know if you come in and I examine the low back and we see on the x-rays that there's subluxation patterns in the lower back, we can't tell you that, it's going to be specifically the left leg and the left little toe that's going to have numbness, and the digestive system, you probably only go to the bathroom, once a week, or, we can tell you that here's the nerve roots, these go out, feed life into these different areas. The symptoms that you're having are representation of the damage to the nerve roots that are in there. So how do you fix the problem? You fix it by identifying it first off, okay? Because when you go to the doctor, nobody's identifying the problem, they're identifying the symptoms. They're identifying the diagnosis from the symptoms. You guys get that? That's huge, because if you understand that nobody's addressing the cause for you, they're addressing, okay, yes, you have an autoimmune condition. You have Crohn's disease, you have IBS, you have RA, you have 81 of these different autoimmune conditions, but they're all symptoms that fit a box of a diagnosis. And in that box of a diagnosis gets you immunosuppressant drugs, which suppress your immune system because your immune system's going crazy, it's interfered with, it's attacking itself, and it's giving you a whole host of symptoms. But you have to ask yourself, why is it attacking itself? Why is it not functioning correctly? What are the changes that I can make to restore my health, to get my life back, to let my body heal the way God intended for it to remove the interferences? What do I have to do that? And that's the process that we walk you through, guys. The number is 877-778-6978. That is 877-778-6978. When you call in, there's 3 different offices. Myself, Dr. Chris Kordic, I'm in McKinney. Dr. Rick Royston is in Plano. Dr. Aaron Wall is in Fort Worth. You'll pay $40 over the phone. That's going to cover your initial consultation, exam, any testing that we need to do. If we need to take x-rays, there's an additional fee for that. We'll go through that with you, depending on if we need to take x-rays, how many x-rays we need to take, that kind of thing. When you come in, guys, just like Dr. Rick explained, it's going to be a different environment than you're used to. It's going to be a place where people get well. It's not a place where you come in and everybody's sick and nobody's talking to each other. I mean, there's worship music going on. There's an atmosphere of healing, and that's what we've all created in our offices. You just have to use this New Year's time as an action step to say, hey, I'm going to start taking care of myself. I'm going to stop making excuses. The number is 877-778-6978. This is Max Living Radio. And one more reminder, you can watch this on YouTube. It's Max Living Radio 100.7. All you got to do is open the YouTube app, type that in, and then you can watch this show in its entirety if you're only catching kind of the last half of this right now.
So while you were talking, just something came to mind. I looked this up, and this actually came out of the University of Washington Medical School, and it actually said that the cause of autoimmune disorder is the change in organ function. And so one that's
what we always talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you look at that and you go, okay, well, what controls organ function? Mm-hmm. And it's the nervous system.
Yep.
And so it's always interesting. I had a patient say this the other day. He goes, Dr. Rick, usually like a year or two later, or at least some period of time later, like everything that you tell us, we hear on the news or we hear in the media. But I mean, you think about this. So the medical system, they're trying to get there. I think that, they understand like, wow, there's a big deficiency like between what we're doing and people getting well. Mm-hmm. There's a huge gap. And you can't ask anybody in the healthcare profession that's just giving prescriptions and doing surgery saying, yeah, what we do is actually getting people healthy and well. In a crisis, may save your life, may change a symptom in that moment, but it's not getting people healthy and well. So they know that, and ultimately the goal is that we do get people there, and so they're searching for this stuff. But there's such a lag.
It's not the model.
Right.
It's not their model that they're in.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. And there's such a lag from when things get realized to down to the kind of the root level or road level of where doctors are doing different things. I mean, we always use this as an example, but there's been research out from years and years ago, over 10 years ago, that showed that 90% of all upper respiratory infections are viral. So that's ear infections, sinus infections, all of that stuff, chest stuff. But when you go to the doctor and you have an ear infection or you have a sinus infection, what do they usually give you?
Antibiotic.
Antibiotics don't work for viruses. But it's known 90% of that.
Yeah.
Every 9 out of 10 people that get antibiotics, it is not going to work for you. But that's the normal. That's what happens. So we have this standard of care where we do things because it's been done this way for a certain amount of time, and that's the way that it's taught in schools or whatever the case may be. But just because it's the standard of care doesn't mean that necessarily is the best thing for you or the best thing for your health. The one of the greatest things that you can do in your quest to get healthy and well is ask questions. You walk into a doctor's office, why do I need this?
100%.
What is it going to do to me? What happens if I don't take this? What are the other options or alternatives? Like, ask those questions. Don't just trust what someone is telling you. And what? I tell my patients that all the time. Like, don't just trust what I'm telling you. Like, go look it up, ask questions. Like, let's get down to where you understand what's going on. But I feel like we've just become such a society where we accept what doctors are saying and we take that action. And then you look back in 6 months or 6 years and go, well, the medication really hasn't helped me feel any better, but I'm still on it. I still have high blood pressure. My joints are still swollen. I still hurt all the time. There's days I can't get out of bed.
But do you still take it?
Yeah. And why do you keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again? Because you're going to get the same result. You're going to get the same result. So the number is 877-778-6978. And if you haven't been to a Max Living office, come in. I mean, I even tell people, like, if you just want to come in and hang out, see what the office is like pop in. Like you'll be surprised, but people feel like it's a family. The environment, there's kids there, there's people there. People are happy and healthy and well. When you walk in, you may feel like, oh, this isn't for me because I'm hurting, I'm uncomfortable, I'm sick, I'm on all kinds of medications. But all those people that are sitting in these chairs, they were in the same spot before you where you are now. And there is a chance, I hope, that that's going to be you also. But you have to make the call. You have to come in, and you have to be ready to take action. I mean, I realize that not everybody's going to walk in and we give them a list of things to do. Tomorrow it's all changed. It's a process, but you at least have to take the first steps. What is it that God's telling you need to do now, and take action on that. And then as you move forward, I really feel like too there's certain grace that comes with that, and God just kind of empowers you when you actually start taking steps. It's just like a diet. If people lose a few pounds, they're like, oh man, this is awesome, and they want to keep doing it for a while. As you start to see change and you just take action steps, there's going to be more momentum for you to get more and more change. And nobody wants to look back next year when 2020 rolls around and you're like, more regret, more sickness, more heartache, more devastation. Like, you know what if you were able to look back and go, man, that was my year. Like, I took action, I changed habits, I created something new in my body that's amazing, it's healthy and well, I'm enjoying life, getting to do things that I wanted to do. Like, how much more cool is that? Right?
I mean, one of the questions I've been asking each one of our patients, this week has been, what do you want? What are your health goals for this year? And so many people have all this real negative thing about New Year's resolutions, right? And so I'm like, and I'm not asking you what your New Year's resolution is. I'm just saying, what are your health goals? What are the things you want to accomplish? Is there, obviously, is there weight that you want to lose? Weight is such a huge issue. I mean, right now you go across and everyone's wanting to lose weight. The gyms are more full. Supplement shops are more full. People are buying vitamins. People are wanting the quick fix. People are wanting fat loss, whatever. You could sell anything fat loss at this point.
Well, it's interesting because right now, I mean, if you look over the last 10 years, the number one New Year's resolution every year is losing weight. So the top three are like eating healthy, exercising more, and getting healthy, like losing weight. Every year. I mean, you look like not spending time with family, not getting better at my job, not getting out of debt. Like it's losing weight and getting healthy.
And the problem is people are failing at these left and right because there's not a big enough reason for why they're trying to do it underneath that. I mean, you've got to like my why for staying in shape and being healthy is because I got 3 little kids, right? I'm 35 years old. I want to be with them at 65 years old. You know, I want to be with my grandkids and even well past that. But I understand that the choices I make and the way I take care of my body, the way I take care of my health is going to determine all that, right? I've been sick before. 25 years old, I had cancer. I mean, that will shake you up. That will allow you to understand that you are not invincible. You know, your time here on this earth could be taken from you. You know, we have patients that die of cancer. We have patients that get sick from other conditions or neurodegenerative diseases. But you have to understand that your health is determined by your choices. And that was really the thing that people, 10, 15, 20 years ago, no one was taking responsibility for that. Right. And that's why the medical profession is so big, is because it says you don't have to take responsibility and that we have a medication, a pill, a chemotherapy, or anything to save you from your crisis. But from that crisis, once you're saved, guess what you still have to do? You still have to change. You still have to make adjustments in your health and take control of it. That pill, chemical, chemo, whatever, it may bring you back to a baseline. But then you gotta take yourself above that baseline. You've got to take control of your health. Guys, the number is 877-778-6978. There's 4 offices. Myself, Dr. Chris Kordic, I'm in McKinney. Dr. Rick Royston is in Plano. Dr. Aaron Wall is in Fort Worth. $40 over the phone. You'll make that deposit. And guys, I encourage you to, if you have questions about the show, about anything, watch it on the YouTube channel. Ask our staff when you call in. You can get answers, but just make the call. 877-778-6978. God bless you guys. We love you. Thanks for listening.